Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Coltrane Conservatory, the Arts Talk Show. We're here to bring you up on talk about some of the programming that we have, as well as some of the issues that are going on around in our community and in Chicago. We always do this in this manner so that we can let's say, be as inclusive as possible. Those of you who want to call in on today, you see the phone number right there on the monitor. And of course, our phone number at the Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts is 773-891-1875. Now, my name is Joe Pace III. I am the director of the Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts Music School and Tutoring School. And we want to start off the day by, we're going to talk a little bit about our programming at the school, and then we want to get your input, and would like for you to call in and talk with us. Now, the Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts, as you see a saxophone there, don't you? That means that we teach that instrument. Oh, yeah. And you see a piano on the right side. We teach that instrument also. You see drums in the middle, you see a guitar, and you see two guitars. You see an electric guitar, and you see what we call an acoustic guitar. So we teach these instruments, and we teach more. We teach baritone, trumpet. Oh, we teach a lot of things over there. So for those of you who would like to get involved with music, we'd love to have you there at the school. And, if you have children, if you have grandchildren, if you want to go back to school, if you want to come out of your hiatus and decide that I've been wanting to do something for many years and I think I'd like to go back to school and study music. Well, you come on over there because you'll be one of many adult students that we have. Now, I'm going to ask you to call us if you have something to say today. You can come on the air. Don't be shy. It's okay to come on the air and talk about these things that we're talking about. If you have questions regarding our music programs, fine. Now, we tutor in math and English also at the Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts. So if you want to know something about those programs, we'll be more than happy to talk with you about those, to answer any of your questions. Now, for example, our English program is focused on writing. So those of you who want to be better writers, you may want to get information about that. Our math program goes from fundamental and basic mathematics all the way up to the first year of algebra. And so if you are going back to school to get a GED, or you planning on going to college, maybe a junior college or somewhere of that type, or you maybe want to go take a trade of some sort, then come on back and brush up on your English, brush up on your writing, brush up on your mathematics, and just come on back. We'll be more than happy to work with you. Okay, now let's talk about a few things that's happening in our communities, and I want you all to know that you can call in and you can chime in on this conversation. As a citizen of this country, it's really sad to hear about so many things that are going wrong, internal problems we have. And a lot of it is due to young people getting involved with violence, getting involved with drugs, and other types of crimes. Well, these are, as I said, young people. And for the most part, many have been raised in broken homes, and some have raised themselves, as a school teacher, I used to have many wards of the states in my classroom, and these kids would go around, bop around from one foster parent to another, and one aunt to another, one uncle to another. And they were literally raising themselves, So we have to give these young people, as they say, cut them some slack, because of what they're going through and trying to get to become a young adult, and then going on and be a productive citizen. It's not easy, you know, and especially among our people, because in many cases we're still dealing with the ravages of what we went through in bondage just 150 years ago. And I mean, that bondage was, according to the history books, more terrible than any bondage of any people, any time in the history, and probably unrecorded history of mankind. So when we look at broken families and children out of control and things of that type, it's not right, and it should be criticized. It should be, we should work to correct it. But at the same time, we need to take a look at the underlying causes for so many of these things. And that, therefore, we can put things into perspective and do a better evaluation of what's going on, and not be so critical as to not see the good in all people, young people or whomever. Because at a certain point, people are saying, let's just write everybody off. These people have gone. And you know, I've said this many times on this program, that in many cases, we need to look at, you know, how these children have been brought up. Because it's a known fact that the way the children are behaving, the way the young people are behaving, is the way in which the adults have done their job in terms of raising them and talking to them. And I always say to people, spend quality time with your child. You know, we have many parents who bring their children to our school. And these parents, they understand for sure that they're helping these children to develop into young adults and to go on and have a successful and happy life. Because they're getting them involved with music, they're bringing them there for tutoring, they're bringing them there for our free drumming program on Saturday, for our free math tutoring. They are making an effort on behalf of their children, and this is going to pay off in big dividends as time goes on. So we need to be understanding. We need to understand and be more patient with the young people that are coming up on today. But like I said, I'm not for one moment trying to excuse any violence, especially where young people are shooting each other and this type of thing. But then, you know, when it comes down to shooting, you know, we have problems in this country due to the police, you know, sworn officers who are shooting young black men and indeed even teenagers multiple times. While they are dying, they're still pumping bullets in them. And the only thing that these people get in terms of punishment is some sort of desk job while they get full pay, and in many cases, they never get, in most cases, they never get convicted of anything. And some of the reasons that they give for doing this are downright ludicrous, so unreasonable that nobody in their right mind, let alone a conscientious jury and judge, could ever let them off. And so these are the things that we're seeing and talking about in our community. Now let's talk about some of the problems we have in this country. Like I said, we have a situation with violence among our youth and crime, other crimes. We have a situation with police brutality and indeed police murders. And this is awful. I can't say enough about that part of it, because these are sworn officers of the law. Most of them are way beyond 21 years old. And they're shooting people in the back, kids in the back, running away. Listen, when I grew up, And I'm sure all of you out there will agree, when you grew up, you heard about people stealing cars, of course. I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, and trust me when I tell you, we had it down there when I was growing up. But we never read or heard of any cop shooting a kid in the back, running away from, as he had, abandoned the car. I mean, so this is ridiculous. And not only that, but to see a police officer high five after killing a youngster, pumping bullets with a deadly weapon, pumping bullets into a young person. I mean, it is so pathetic, and it's so sad where this country has come to. And let me tell you something. When it comes down to African Americans, listen, we are homeowners. We're taxpayers. We worked the steel mills. We've worked the railroad, and we have gone to school, and many of us have become school teachers. We are example citizens. I'm talking about the 99% of us that are not in these gangs and whatnot. I mean, exemplary. Okay? We are exemplary. And the bottom line is for anybody to call themselves referring to an African American as a second class citizen, or trying to treat them like a second class citizen. That is perhaps the most egregious thing that I could ever think of. Because you see, these black people in this country really have helped to build it into what it is today. And notwithstanding the fact that they did it for well over 200 years for absolutely no pay whatsoever. And when you talk about welfare and Section 8 and all of these social programs they got, I don't think we're owed anything. I don't think as African Americans we're owed one nickel of that stuff. And more whites and others get it than what we get, because they get it's a smaller percentage of them that get it, but it's a larger a number of them that get it. And people need to understand that the percentage is larger among blacks, but the numbers are smaller. Now, when it comes down to these things, nothing is owed to us. They could take that welfare and throw it in the lake, for as I'm concerned, and all these other programs. But what is owed to us, what is owed to these black people in this country, these African Americans that were dragged here forcefully and put into bondage, indeed into a horrible slavery for hundreds of years, is reparation. Because our people, our ancestors, my ancestors and your ancestors out there, the ones of you who know who I'm talking about, they worked for that, and they should have been paid for that. And somebody said, well, it was legal. There's no such thing as legal slavery. There's no such thing, because we're all equal on this planet. And since we're all equal, everybody should get paid for the work that they do. And so since we haven't been paid, that means that we, the heirs, are owed in some form or another. I don't know. Let the Congress or someone, somebody go into deliberation and decide what is fair. Is it free education for all African Americans? Is it more lenient mortgages? Okay? Is it first preference in government employment? But compensation of some sort is due, and one day will be paid. Now, many of you out there, we may not see it, but I guarantee you, because it's old, and everything in this universe that's old must and will be paid. That's sowing and reaping. That's cause and effect. We made a cause. Our ancestors made a cause, a great cause. And for us to be here today, you see, in as good a shape as we are in this country, is a miracle in itself. And let me tell you something. All of my sisters and my brother, we all have degrees. We've all worked, and it's 6 of us. Most of us have been school teachers of some sort. I've done many more things than that. I've owned businesses in this country. I worked when I first got out of the Navy. I've been in the Navy. I was in Vietnam. I got medals from being in the military. Okay, and I have a cousin who was a Lawrence Pace, my first cousin. He went in as a E1, that's like a buck private, and came out as lieutenant colonel. I've had master sergeants. My brother was a sergeant in the military. I was the leading seaman. All of us had leadership positions and whatnot. And so what I'm saying here is that we paid our dues in this country. Don't let anybody even try to suggest that you're second class in any kind of way. Okay, we have a caller, and I want to get to that caller. And caller, come on on.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, caller.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, Joe, this is Bob, one of the instructors at the Institute. And
Hello,
I'm just
Bob.
calling in to encourage people to come to bring their children on to. I enjoy working with them, and they can always come in Saturday at 12:30, and for an hour, I will be instructing them in math. I know a lot of children need help in math, and we try to do the basics, the adding, the subtracting, the multiplication, and the division, to get them prepared and help them with whatever homework they have.
Yes. Well, this is Bob Burford, one of our tutoring instructors. Bob is a graduate of Chicago State University, and he has been with us, I think it's a little over 2 years, as one of our volunteer tutoring instructors. And Bob, we want to thank you for making that phone call. He's done such a great job, and we can't say enough about how pleased we are with his service there at the Coltrane Conservatory House. So thank you, Bob, for calling. We really appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. And keep up the good work. And we see if we can get some more kids in there.
Okay, then. That's what we're trying to do. We got some space, and we do have space for other participants. So those of you out there who have children, you got grandchildren, you have children, some of you have great-grandchildren. You need to actually be doing these children a favor by getting up on Saturday morning and bringing them over to the Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts for a 1-hour session in how to do their math. They can bring their little books with them, because oftentimes what we do is we work directly out of their textbooks, and we ask them to bring those with them so we can work out of those textbooks with them. So keep that in mind, and we want to thank Bob for calling. Now, we're going to get over to some other things that we're talking about here. The fact of the matter is, I wanted to mention that because, it's so important. I want to talk about, some of you are sports fans, and you may have heard of Colin, what's his name? Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick is a quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. And just a couple of days ago, he made a statement. Now, he's half white and half black. That means he's mixed. He was actually raised by a white couple after he was given up for adoption. Now, he's been a quarterback in the National Football League for now several years. And he's made a lot of money and whatnot. And, you know, a lot of these athletes won't say too much about social issues because they feel that, gee whiz, I'm going to lose some money if I say this and that. Money is not everything. You know, you got to live with yourself. And if any of you out there are athletes and you're making good money, you got to live with yourself. Stand up and do something and be somebody. Anybody can chase dollars. And at the end of your life, all you can say is that I chased a whole bunch of dollars, you know. You need to do something that's fulfilling and that has value to it so you can pass it on to your children and grandchildren. But Kaepernick, this young man, he made the statement, well, first of all, let me fill you in on the story. The national anthem was being played, and he didn't stand for it. And reporters saw that, and they reported it. And then they came and asked him questions in an interview. They said, why didn't you stand for the national anthem? And Colin said, because that flag is supposed to stand for freedom, justice, and liberty. And he said, that's not happening for a whole bunch of minorities in this country. And he said, until it begins to happen, I will not stand and honor that flag. And a lot of people, I happen to hear, listen to a sports radio station sometimes, and they were saying, a lot of people were calling in and complaining, saying that veterans have are not happy with that because they don't like the idea that somebody is saying that about the anthem or the flag. I got news for you. Like I just told you, most of the men in my family have served in the military, and not a single one of us is upset about that, okay? And most of us have meddled, okay? Meaning we've done things special so that we were granted a medal for doing it. Many of us have kept, like I said, I had a cousin, Lawrence, who was also a pilot, who went in as a buck private and became a lieutenant colonel. And we have had master sergeants and all kinds of other people in our family. Myself, I was a leader, and I have no problem with that young man saying, I'm going to sit down until such time that all of this fancy words about freedom and liberty and justice and all of that crap, and that's what I called it. You can quote me as saying that, because it's nothing but crap until it becomes reality, and it's not reality. And when and somebody said, well, you're doing okay. Yes, but am I supposed to walk around because I'm doing okay and see so much devastation, so much racism being practiced, so many inequalities and things that are not right, so much injustice, and all of this stuff going on simply because I'm doing okay? In fact, if it's anybody who should be working to stamp out injustice, is those of us who are doing okay, because the people who are being oppressed to that degree, they themselves just don't have any more motivation to even try and fight. So listen, we talked a lot. Now, those of you, you know what, you got our number. Get in contact with us. We want to see, we want to hear from you. We are, into music, and we're also tutoring school. So we do deal with some social issues. That's something for you to put in your pipe and smoke as a figure of speech. So thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you on next week. Bye.